Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. I am Missy Renee, and here we talk about manifesting, all things manifesting, how to do it, how to properly apply it so that you can live the life that you've always dreamed of. So this video, I want to go into how to use your imagination to manifest. This is a technique video. I personally use this technique all the time. I have found extreme success with this technique. This is probably Neville Goddard's most popular technique, I would have to say. This is the one that he would teach consistently throughout his lectures and in his books. So before we dive into this, I just wanted to make a quick explanation for those of you who are new to manifesting, new to Neville Goddard, new to my channel. Neville taught that our imagination was God. That is our creative force that we use to paint our 3D reality or create the world around us. We did this with our imagination, and our subconscious mind would take our imaginal acts and refract them into the 3D world. And you're actually doing this all the time. Most people are just not consciously aware of it, but this is how you create. So that could also be your thoughts, your reactions, your inner dialogue or inner conversation. These are all things that will impress and ultimately refract and will become your 3D reality. So this is going to be a 4-step process. So just a disclaimer, don't ever take my word for any of this. Don't take anybody's word for this. Neville used to stress the importance of applying these techniques, and I am strongly encouraging the same thing. You need to test them for yourself. You need to try the techniques. You become your own judge. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. Step 1, define what you want. Now, I know this seems like a no-brainer, but I have found, and you'd be surprised at how many people don't have a clear definition of what it is that they truly want. And maybe this is because, I know this is the case for me, I thought that a lot of the things that I wanted and desired were unattainable, so I never even really played with the notion that much. But you want to have a clear objective, and you want to clearly define what you want. So for me, I know what helps is to make a list. You know, it can be big things, it could be little things, it doesn't matter. What's really helped me is to create a list, and this is what I encourage other people to do and what I'm encouraging you to do. Make a list of the things that you want. Make sure that you don't get hung up on whether they're big things or small things. It really doesn't matter. There's no criteria here. You get to decide. It's your universe, it's your reality, and you are God. So make a list of the things that you desire, big things, little things. This just helps to write it out and be as specific as you can. If you want a new car, you know, try not to just say, I want a new car. Be specific. Say, I want a Tesla Series S or whatever, black, leather interior. Just throwing an example out there. All right, so you have your list of what you want. You've clearly defined what it is that you desire and that you want to manifest. That brings us to step 2. You're going to construct a mental scene, an imaginal scene. For me, I am big on writing things down with pen and paper. I'm a kinesthetic learner. Something between the correlation of your brain and writing it down really helps to flesh things out and make them stick. But you want to construct an imaginal scene, and you want that scene to be just a couple seconds long. You want it to be short and to the point, so that way your mind's not wandering too much or you're going off track while you're trying to imagine this scene. And we'll get into in a little bit why it's important to try to keep this as concise as possible. But for me, I'd say no more than 5-10 seconds max. And a couple examples of scenes that you could use. Say, for example, you wanted a job promotion. You would outline a scene that would imply that you have received that promotion. So for example, in that scene, you can be sitting across the desk from your boss who has just given you the raise, and you're standing up to shake their hand, and you hear your boss in your imagination say, "Congrats on the promotion, you deserved this." And you reply back in your imaginal scene, "Thank you so much, I'm so grateful, I'm gonna make you proud." This is an example. You can go nuts. So say for example you want a specific person. Remember to always go to the end, so define what it is that you want. If it's marriage that you want, then you can construct a scene where the two of you are talking, maybe lying down together in bed, and you're looking down at your wedding ring, and you can hear the person say to you, "Happy 1-year anniversary," so on and so forth. You reply with whatever you want. Again, just an example, but you hopefully will get the point. Another really helpful trick when trying to come up with ideas for scenes, and Neville used to bring this one up too, was congratulatory scenes or constructing congrats scenes. So for these, like say you're trying to imagine being very wealthy, but if you have never been wealthy before, you may not know how to really get into that scene. So in this case, you could construct a scene where you are having a conversation with a loved one. It could be a friend or family member, and in that scene, you can be talking to them either in person or over the phone, it doesn't matter. In that scene, you can hear them congratulate you for accomplishing your goal or getting what it is that you want, whether that's wealth or a job or a new house or you name it, solving a problem. Hear that person tell you congratulations, and then you would reply back in that scene. Okay, so you've defined what it is that you want and you've constructed your scene. This will take you to step 3. Get yourself into a state akin to sleep. Now, what the hell is a state akin to sleep? The state akin to sleep happens naturally for us twice in a 24-hour period. This is the time right before bed and right as you're waking up that you're in that groggy twilight stage where you're not completely unconscious, but you're well on your way to be. So you want to be in this groggy twilight stage, either right before bed or right as you're waking up, before you're fully conscious. Now, why is it important to imagine these scenes during these times? Well, if you've seen my video about the mind and how you use it to manifest, which, by the way, if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to link it up here and down in the description below. Definitely check that one out. It will help make every video here forward make that much more sense. So go watch the video if you haven't yet, but for those who have and for those who understand the mind and how we use it to manifest, your conscious mind is personal and it's selective. So if you try to do these during the day, not to say that it won't work if you do these imaginal acts, because you can also be daydreaming. That's another way that you manifest. You do it all the time anyways. But if you're having a thought or a scene that conflicts with what you believe is true, your conscious mind is going to reject it, and it won't get the chance to impress onto your subconscious mind. So you want to imagine these scenes when your conscious mind is shutting down, ideally right before you go to bed, and your conscious mind is very moldable and flexible. That being said, you don't have to wait until right before bed or right as you're waking up to do these scenes. Those aren't the only 2 times that you can do this. You can get yourself into a state akin to sleep during the day, and Neville taught this as well. You can get yourself into a meditative type state. If you can get yourself into a meditative type state, that's also going to work. So to do this during the day, you just want to take 20 minutes or so of your time where you're not going to be bothered, you have nothing to do, you can clear it out and go somewhere where you can lie down or sit down somewhere comfortable. And once you do that, you just focus on your breathing and you begin to get yourself into a meditative state. You try to clear your mind and shut out your objective reality. And for me, I'll tell myself, I am sleepy, I'm getting very sleepy, I'm getting very tired. Again, we're doing this to try to bypass the conscious mind and get our imaginal scene impressed onto the subconscious, because that's what's going to create your 3D reality. And you want to do that with the least likely chance that your conscious mind is going to reject it. So you can do this during the day, but for a lot of people it's easier to do it at night as you're going to bed anyways, because you'll naturally fall into that state no matter what. Alright, so you have defined what you want. You have constructed a scene that implies that you've received what you want, or that you have what it is that you desire. You got yourself into a state akin to sleep. You're in that nice, drowsy twilight stage right as you're about to drift, but you're still conscious. You're able to control your thoughts still. Now it's time for step 4, and that is to bring your scene into your imagination and play it out. Now, here's the part where earlier when I was saying it's best to keep this scene short and concise, well, because now you're going to be looping this scene. Every time it ends, you want to go to the beginning and you want to loop it. You want to loop it over and over. And every time you do this, every time you begin to loop the scene, with every new turn, you want to add another layer of realism. You want to add another tone of reality. And what does this mean? You want to invoke all of your senses in your imagination. So the first time you play this scene, it may be fuzzy, it may not be very crisp clear, but that's why you loop it. Each time you want to get it down pat more and more. Invoke all of your senses. You want to be able to ideally see, smell, taste, touch, as many senses as you can invoke. The goal here is to immerse yourself in the scene to the best of your ability. You want to feel like you are really there in your imagination. So as much sensory vividness as you can give this scene, the better. And don't worry if the first couple of times you do this, you have a hard time with getting that tone of realism or the tones of realism. It's not going to be a make or break. It's not going to be a deal breaker, because the state akin to sleep is the most impressible time. So this is when you are going to have the most success planting your scene or your desire onto your subconscious. You want to create a snapshot image. And so the goal is to get it with as many senses invoked as you can, but don't fret if you are unable to at first. This is a practice. This is something that you may need to just keep working on. As you loop it, you will find that it gets more real. You will also find that the emotions that you would be experiencing, were this to happen to you in real life, you'll start feeling those emotions. Once you add the tones of reality and once you loop it enough, you're gonna start invoking the emotions that come with it. So this is kind of a key to how you know that it's working. You're gonna feel a deep sense of satisfaction, or it's a deep sense of relief. You're gonna start to actually have the feeling or emotion behind it. Again, don't stress if this doesn't happen right away, or if it doesn't happen the first or even the first couple of times that you try to do this. It's still being impressed. This time when you're in the state akin to sleep is the most impressible for your subconscious mind. This time when you're in a state akin to sleep is when your subconscious is the most receptive to whatever you place on there. This is also why it's so crucial to not have any really bad or negative thoughts as you're going to bed. And this is also, for a lot of people, the time when they are stressed and anxious and worried, and they're playing out their fears and worst case scenarios. You want to cut that out. If you are one of those people, and there's a lot of them out there, I was one, don't beat yourself up if you're doing this, but if you are lying in bed at night and going over all of the bad events or the worst case scenarios or a big ball of anxiety, how am I going to pay my bills? Oh my God, what am I going to do about the situation? You want to make sure to cut that out, because your imagination is God, and there is nothing that you can't accomplish if you impress onto your subconscious and you imagine it to be so. Trust on this. Try it, try it, try it. Try it for yourself. I was blown away at how the scenes that I placed onto my subconscious would literally play out as I had seen them in my imagination, to a T, to the items of clothing that other people were wearing, to the exact phrases out of their mouth. It was mind-blowing how accurate this is. A very crucial note that I need to add before I forget and before I end this video. When you are imagining, you want to do it from first person point of view. You want to be in that scene, literally. You want to be seeing things from your eyes. If you are the one talking to somebody, you see that person as if you are literally across the table from them in real life. You don't want to do this in third person or like you're watching yourself on a movie screen. I have found I've had some success with doing third person imagining, but other times I will see my manifestation playing out for somebody else, or somebody else will get that thing that I was desiring. So this is a very crucial distinction that I have to make, because this, Neville said it, this can be the distinction between success and failure. You always want to imagine from first person point of view, because essentially whatever you're putting onto your subconscious, whatever is suppressed onto the subconscious, will refract and play out in your reality exactly how you imagine it. So always from first person point of view. Had to make sure I put that in there. So to quick recap, you want to define what it is that you want. You want to construct a short imaginal scene that implies that you have received that which you want or already have it. You want to get yourself into a state akin to sleep, either right before bed or first thing in the morning, or in a meditative state, a deep meditative state during the day. And then you want to bring that imaginal scene into your mind, and you want to loop it. And as you loop it, you start to add all the tones of reality that you can. You want to create as much sensory vividness and put yourself into that scene and immerse yourself as much as possible, and always from first person point of view. That's it. That's all I have for you guys today. This was the technique that Neville used the most. This is probably his most popular, and it's because a lot of people have had success with this one. This for me has been hands down the most successful technique that I use. I use it all the time. I want and encourage you guys to try it. Let me know in the comments below what happens. I want your feedback and any questions that you have. Go ahead and shout. So if you guys found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so that way you are notified anytime I put out new content. Also, if you're interested in checking out any of my other resources, I will link my blog, my coaching website, and my Facebook groups down in the description box below. I will also put Neville's lectures down in there and his free ebooks. Definitely download and read his work. It will change your life. So anyways, guys, again, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate each and every one of you. Oh, and before I forget, if you have any questions or if you want to have me do any more topics that you want me to talk about in future videos, leave them down in the comments. Until next time, you all take care and happy manifesting.